Stronger is a biographical drama about Jeff Bowman, who lost his legs in the 2013 Boston bombing, and the film follows his life after this traumatic event. Jake Gyllenhaal wonderfully plays Jeff Bowman alongside the incredible Tatiana Maslany, who is so underrated. They make this film so heartwarming, yet so heartbreaking and goosebump giving, because of how they are directed by the intelligent David Gordon Green, who is able to create something astonishingly beautiful with the help of John Polano's great screenplay, as well as the uplifting score that complements every scene. All of this put together creates an amazing, powerful film that really tugs at your heartstrings. It's a film about passion and ownership. That is the theme of the film. Passion to persevere, passion to live, not just survive after this horrible occasion. Passion for one another, passion in Jeff and Erin's relationship, passion in the filmmaking. This is one of my favourite films of 2017 and my favourite biopic. Why? Because this film is made like a skyscraper. It piques your emotions and has a strong impact on you. But what is it exactly that makes this film so strong? The acting is truly astonishing, and I think these two gave arguably the best performances of 2017, and everyone else is really good as well. Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic, as always, and he does a spectacular job at making you feel sorry for him, not just because he lost his legs, but because he doesn't feel like he's good enough. Because he isn't perfect, he is flawed, which is something we can all relate to. The best scenes of his are when he's crying or angry, because we really see that he feels like he's not good enough, but he still wants to help, even though he wants to remain independent, because he wants to stay normal. Nearly every scene in the film is one of the best scenes, but easily one of the best scenes in the film is when Erin has just revealed that he will be a father. Tatiana Maslany's facial expressions and line delivery in this scene is spectacular, and Jake Gyllenhaal's response when he's shouting that he did show up specifically for her when she says that he never shows up, putting all the blame on her, which Maslany conveyed in the beginning of the film when she didn't know what to do. Because of that, Erin storms out of the car and leaves Jeff there. Gyllenhaal gives an amazing performance when he is trying so hard to crawl his way to the door. He really gets across how grueling this is. Not just because he has to crawl his way there, but because he is fearful that he will lose one of the two things he has left. He already lost his legs, and he definitely doesn't want to lose Erin too, which is why he tries so hard. In an interview, Jake Gyllenhaal said that David Gordon Green just let the camera roll for like 30 minutes in order to get the desperation out of him. Jake Gyllenhaal also has great facial expressions throughout, especially in scenes when he's angry, same with dialogue, but they shine in this scene, which I will talk about later on. The scene when he leaves the hospital is great. Gyllenhaal's face in that scene gets across so much. You understand that he's happy, but he's confused and conflicted because he doesn't feel like he should be praised. He's also great at portraying how Jeff has a lot of bottled up thoughts that he's too scared to tell his family. In addition, his physicality is really great, as it never feels like he could just get up and walk whenever, which is good because otherwise this film wouldn't even be half as real as it feels. As I said earlier, Tatiana Maslany showed brilliantly through her facial expressions that she felt like this is her fault. And I must say that Tatiana Maslany has incredible facial expressions in this film. When she sees the picture of Jeff in that bar, you see her feel like this is her fault. When she's on that park bench, you see that she's putting all of the weight on her shoulders and she's scared to take it off. When the lady at the rehab center says that Jeff needs to show up to all of the appointments, you can see how she has resentment built up because he never shows up, and the one time he did, this happened. She delivers a lot of her dialogue in a soft way as well, which really gets across that she feels that this is her fault, which is why she's so soft, because it reinforces her helpful nature. However, she's also great when she's fed up with pushing the wheelchair, literally and figuratively, and she gets angry, because she really shows that she's letting out that resentment. Moving on, Miranda Richardson, simply put, is really good at making you dislike her. She has a great performance in this film. From facial expressions, we get that she cares about her son, but from line delivery, we get that she's not the best mother in the world. Everyone's performance in this film is good, but obviously these are the standouts. Everyone has great chemistry, they all felt like they knew each other and clearly got on well with each other, especially Jake and Tatiana. In a character drama, the acting is what makes the film work, and in this film, it really does. John Polano's screenplay for this film is really moving and extremely well written. This is a character drama. It's a film about Jeff, not the bombing, which is why it's so great that they never pay any attention to the bombing as a whole. I love the scene where Jeff gives the info to the FBI agents purely because of how little attention the film pays to it. Polano and Gordon Green have that one scene about it, and that's it. It was great to not even show their faces, as that demonstrates how insignificant catching the guy was to Jeff's story. As we're talking about the scenes in the hospital, I love this shot. This long one shot is executed so well. There's nothing fancy going on with the camera movements to make it stand out, but the static shot of Gyllenhaal's face while taking off the bandage is so good because it makes sense for it to be a one shot. The first time you would do that, it would be an excruciatingly long thing to do, and you don't know when it's going to end. This whole time Jeff's been on the right third of the frame, and we don't know if Erin's there to support him or not. Then she swings into frame as a surprise to the viewer and to Jeff, as it symbolizes how Jeff is happy to have her back. Carrying on with the cinematography, there's nothing necessarily special about it, but there are some really well executed shots. Firstly, you have the sex scene, which was so well done. I hate unnecessary sex scenes in films that are over-sexualized with a girl that was most probably forced to be nude in a wide shot. And thankfully, this film doesn't do that. Instead, the sex scene, as a sex scene should do, just reinforces their intimacy for one another, as it's just a bunch of macro shots of them being close to each other, which is great because it conveys their passion. I also really like the shots where Jeff is in a wheelchair and we just have close-up shots of his face where the camera is seemingly attached to the wheelchair in front of Gyllenhaal, as it's a really nice way for the audience to connect with the character when he feels so small when he's around so many people. It makes the audience feel just as stable as Jeff, so props to Sean Bobbitt on that. Moving on to editing. As an editor, there are only 3 bad edits in this film. This cut, it's just that it feels so out of place. I'm tearing up and starting to cry from the scene, and then just feels a bit weird. And then there's 2 really poorly ADR'd in lines, but that's almost tradition with a lot of films nowadays anyway. Other than that, the editing is perfectly fine, and one of my favourite editing choices that Polano, Tichenor and Green did was the scene where Jeff calls Erin after their little feud. Him calling Erin and being hopeful that she will return is overlaid with footage of him trying so hard to get back on his feet, which to me demonstrates how the biggest thing that will make him heal is being with Erin, which shows his passion for her. Also, very quickly, this film is structured very well. There is never a boring part, there is never a part where you feel you need to catch your breath, and the 2 hours fly by, which is obviously due to the amazing screenplay with help of editing. This is going to be a short one. Michael Brooks' score in this film is really splendid. It really complements every scene, but it's never too loud so it doesn't rob the actors of their performance. Let me put it like this. You are already in a good mood due to the acting, but the score will exhilarate that happiness. You're tearing up due to the incredible acting and dialogue, but the score will just push you over the edge to start crying because of how faint it is. Stronger is an amazing film and I love it so much. I love how the film ends. However, I don't like how this video ends because I haven't specifically talked about everything that makes this film so strong. I could talk about this film for ages as it's so great due to being made by amazing, passionate people, but it's one of those films I love so much that I don't want to make this video overly long as it may ruin the film for me in the future. But I think you get my point. So yeah, that's the video. Thank you to everyone who is a part of making this film so strong. Thank you Jeff Bowman for reminding everyone to be strong, and thank you for watching. That's so fun.